Hello and welcome to a special bonus level of the Thoughts and Players podcast, a brand new gaming podcast with bold takes and no strings attached. Today we are doing our bonus level on gaming with Bay. So co-op games you like playing with your significant other. My name is Cory, and today I have with me special guest, Lindsey. Lindsey, how are you?
I'm okay. Nervous.
Okay. Linz, you're a fan of this podcast, is that right?
So I'm told.
Okay. I also have it on good word that you're a fan of me and you actually married me.
Well, that's what the court says.
That's what the courts say. Okay, well, you are my bae. I am your bae. This topic will be a lot of games that we played together, I hope. You know, there was people before me, so we'll see. But yeah, we like playing co-op games from time to time, and we're just going to give you a list of some of our favorites, I guess, right?
Sounds good.
All right. Do you want to tell people like kind of what you grew up on playing?
I actually grow up with any co-op games. I'm an only child, so everything I played was pretty much me, myself, and I, and just kind of controller passing back and forth. Obviously, as I've gotten older, I've kind of gotten away from more heavy games. So I really like co-op games now that are pretty light, which I think that's where some of our opinions differ.
All right. Well, and I think it should be said that you love Crash Bandicoot.
Well, I think you made that clear in your other podcast.
Yeah, I talk about it all the time. You love Crash. All right.
Number one game.
Yeah, number one game. Let's go over our list then. I think you have 5, I have 5, and I will be the gentleman and say ladies first.
Wow, rough. All right, well, let's see. How about I start with something pretty easy that everybody knows? It's kind of the lesser of the ones on my list. It's Mario Party. Obviously, Nintendo makes it. They have 1,000 of these games. But what's nice about it is it's family friendly. Anybody can pick it up. It's for all ages. They've really tried to kind of make some changes, some subtle, some a little heavier as they kind of advance the games. Like now in their newest one, you can have, partners. There's different boards. They have different effects. You can play up to 4, sometimes 8. You can have CPUs. But regardless, the takeaway from this game is that it's still Mario Party. It always will just be the same mechanics of hit the dice, move X amount of spots, and play party games. And all the party games eventually become repetitive as they do with all the series. It's not a game I would ever go back to, but yet I find myself always playing them as soon as they come out just because they are so adaptable and they can accommodate large crowds, which is nice. The most recent one, though, I have to say, I think was the worst one that we've played as a group, mainly because they kind of took away where you're stealing coins and stars. They kind of made it more fair, where if I take your star, you can easily get it back, or you can make that deficit up with coins. And if you're not cutting people down, it's just not fun.
So you like the games better that are cutthroat. I want to kind of destroy your soul and just end you.
Yeah, when I beat you in board games, I want to take it all.
But it's really funny because when the opposite happens to you, you're not so gun-ho about it. When I steal your stars or your coins, it's not, oh, that was fun. But, Mario Party. Yeah, go on.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's fun when you win because it's cutthroat. It's a battle from the beginning to the end. You put your all into it. You're hustling, you're stealing stars, you're stealing coins. But again, with the latest one, they really took away that element, which made it my least favorite of the series. But it's still a game that if they released another one, I would go back to all over again, just because it can accommodate so many people. And it's always something new and exciting with the party games when they originally come out.
All right, yeah. I enjoyed the last one. And it's kind of funny. It's on a co-op list, but you played this game a bunch by yourself, didn't you? You pretty much 100%ed it.
Well, I needed practice to beat you.
Yeah. We'll have to go back to that. All right, my turn. All right. So the first game I have up is a is a game we necessarily didn't play together, but we played next to each other. I did most of the playing, but had a ton of fun with it. And it's The Wolf Among Us. Remember that one?
Oh my gosh, yes. I still quote it.
Yes. So, yes, we do. So, Wolf Among Us can be like any number of games. So, this is the one I picked because I thought it was like the best one that we had played together in terms of like story, and the art style of the game was real cool. If anyone doesn't know, it's about a game. The story is it's fairy tales that have to live in the real world, and they kind of hide themselves. And there's a murder that happens, and the sheriff is the big bad wolf. So as Bigby, I think his name is, you go around trying to solve this, and it's a Telltale game, so it's not too much on the action side, but there's a lot of like story-driven things that you got to take, and that's where I think like the co-op comes into play when we're at a point where it's like, man, do I let this person go? Do I beat them up? Do I do this or not? It tends to be where I'm like, I gotta beat him up. And you're the bleeding heart who's like, no, you gotta let him go.
Is that what I sound like?
It's kind of what you sound like. So, yeah. I mean, it's a great game. It's a fun game. I'll say that one. The Walking Dead, I don't think you watched me play that one as much. Do you remember that one with Lee and Clementine?
Yeah, there's a traumatizing scene I can recall for sure.
Yeah, but a great story, and it's like one of those things. And like you said, we quote it. I forget the guy's name, but like the dude with the mullet and the hat, he'll remember this. And like whenever we disagree with each other, you'll be like, Lindsey remembers this. So it's really stuck with us. And another one, I'm kind of getting 3 for 1 right here, which is a little bit cheating, but I'm going to do that the whole list. But another one, yeah. Until Dawn, remember that one? It was the horror story with the girl, and
yeah,
and
like,
that was so
the
good.
Characters
right?
were like actually actors.
Yeah, and like there was 8 people in like the game, and you could have all of them live, all of them die based on all your decisions. And that one was like, you had to make really quick decisions. So there was a couple times we're playing where I make one and you're like, no, why'd you do that? You know, and it's like, I got to go quick. And I don't know, all those games are fun because it's like watching an extended movie that we both get to enjoy. We both get to kind of put our input. Next time I'm letting you control so I can be like the backseat driver. So you're ready for that.
I don't know if I can handle it. Like some of these are a little scary.
They are.
Zombies jumping out. I don't know, man.
Oh, man.
Is it finally my turn, or are you done with your 3 for 1?
Yeah. It is your number 2.
Oh, my gosh. All right. So my number 2, I didn't play with you at all. Well, I guess I did for 5 minutes. Overcooked.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Go on.
You absolutely hate this game, and to be honest, I'm so sorry, but I hate playing this game with you.
Well, there's like that. Well, Overcooked is a cooking game, and there's that thing like too many cooks in the kitchen, right? Like that's the thing.
But,
like I
can't
handle
cook at all.
Well,
no, you can't.
just go on. Go on.
It's too hot.
I don't want to hear it. I don't need to hear it. Go on.
So it's a simulation game. Ghost Town Games made it. It's like a local cooperative. I'm going to start out by saying there is single player available. Would never play it, would not recommend it, simply because instead of you being a standalone character in single player, what happens is it gives you 2 of your chefs, and you have to kind of alternate between controlling both of them, which is honestly sloppy in my opinion. Most times they're isolated from each other where they can't cross paths. And it doesn't.
I don't want to stop you and take away your momentum here, but you said you don't want to play it with me and you don't want to play it single player, but you still would rather play it with me than single player, right?
I'd rather play it with your mom.
Okay, so in this instance, she is Bae. Gotcha. Go on. I'm sorry.
She's Bae right now, man.
Okay.
The co-op multiplayer experience, is amazing. From the first one, you play as 2 single chefs together in a kitchen. You're just trying to make these different meals. There's a large variety from like burgers to fried fish to whatever, a million dishes. You're on a time limit. You're trying to serve customers as soon as possible, get so many stars to move on. But the kitchens, they all have different layouts and mechanisms. They're very diverse and they follow different themes from like horror with actual like food zombies to very simplistic like 50s diner. There's a little bit of like, I don't know if I would say like puzzle mechanics, but the levels can kind of move around and there's certain paths you have to take and be aware that things will kind of flip while you're making these meals. The thing that makes it the most fun is that you really are so codependent on each other. So I'm throwing a fish and it's hitting you in the face and knocking you back. And then I'm screaming, get the fish. Or I'm catching the whole kitchen on fire while your mom is drowning in a pool of water. It's amazing. I will say, though, Overcooked 2, I felt kind of took away from the fun we had with 1 because they focused more on the complexity of the levels and making them harder to like kind of move around in them. So Overcooked 1 is definitely my favorite. But there's also those who love it simply just because they have the DLC content. So it's never really ending. It's not expensive. You get about 10 levels. And because of the star mechanism, you have to have X amount of stars to move on. So you end up replaying levels until you beat them, which at times becomes stressful. But when you're under a time limit and you're trying to make it perfect and get into a routine, I don't feel like you get too burnt out on it. With you, however, I feel like you just get frustrated and start spamming the button that's like swearing. And it's all the little signs in the air and they're going rah, 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 rah. And give up.
I'll say this is like the most stressed I've ever been playing a game. Like the time limit's like 3 minutes and there's so much things going around. Like you were saying about the levels, they kind of like separate the characters in a lot of them. So you are dependent, like you're throwing objects over like a pool of lava and it's nuts. There's so many things going on screen and it's just way too crazy. And I was stressing out and it felt like a job, a very fun one. But I'm like, I can't do this. I can't play it. So I'm glad my mom was there to play with you. And I'll say this, like the game, like the cast of characters, it has to get an award for the best diversity in terms of characters. Like there's no other game. I've looked it up. There's no other game with a raccoon in a wheelchair. And I think it has to be, praised for that.
Yeah, there's also the bald eagle, an octopus, unicorn, anything you can think of pretty much.
That's right. All right, on to my number 2. My number 2 you're going to love because you do love this game. And I enjoyed playing the first one with you so much. And I will dare say this game, you are actually better than me in it. Do you know what I'm talking about? You're better. Like, I'm just going to throw it out there. Like, I'm really, really good, but you just knock it out of the park.
I want to hear you say it.
Oh, okay. We are talking about Splatoon.
Yes.
Now Splatoon, I think it does have like a multiplayer like co-op mode, right? Like we could have played on the same screen together, I think, but that's never how we played the game. We played it on the single player, not single player, but we played the multiplayer mode where you play online, where it's teams of 4-on-4, and you're trying to ink as much of the level as you possibly can. And whoever has more of the level covered in their colored ink, they win the game. And, it doesn't sound like, why would you play this with Bay? I don't know. It was just fun to pass the controller back and forth. Me and you would take turns, each playing a level, seeing what our score was, then passing the controller off and going back and forth. And at the end of it there, we were, not even at the end, in the midway point, we were at the top of the leaderboard every single match. And our only goal was to try to get our own personal records. We had like 2,000 square meters inked or whatever. And I don't know, it was just fun. It was fun playing it with you because we were both into the same game and it like made unlocking everything a lot better, because I would come home, hey, you've unlocked 15 more levels, unlocked these new guns, these new outfits, you've upgraded this. And Splatoon itself is just a great game. The levels are fun. They did free updates for a couple years, I believe. They had like the Splatfest where you could vote on one side or the other. Just a very vibrant. Yes, yeah. It's just a really vibrant game that has like peppy music. The levels are all really good. It was fun to play, and being a squid or a kid, I forget. Squid kid. Yeah, that's a lame one. I'm sorry. Yeah, so anyways, like when moving around in the level was so much fun. You know, you spray your ink and then you turn into a squid and you just like glide along it so beautifully. You know, it's so fast and it's fun to move and climb up walls, and it's one of those games where like I wouldn't say you're the biggest shooter fan. You know, there's like very few like shooters you play, but that's not what the game's about at all. It's about spreading that ink, and you had fun with that, and so did I, and it was fun competing with you, and like trying to like one up each other the entire way. Yeah, and kind of like what was the last game you just mentioned? Oh, Overcooked. Splatoon 2 kind of did the same thing as Overcooked 2, where I think the second game wasn't as enticing just because the novelty of that kind of game mode was, okay, we played it for hundreds of hours. They didn't add enough for me. I know they added another mode that you really liked.
Grizzco.
Yeah, that was kind of like a horde mode where you go through waves of enemies and try to collect these eggs. And that was fun, but Splatoon 1 really kind of, I don't know, one of my favorite games. Just a blast to play.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Grizzco was an awesome addition to me, but the base game itself wasn't enough to make up for everything we did in one.
Yeah. And they do have a single player on there if you want to play it by yourself. And I think you forced me to play the single player. Is that right?
Yeah, because it's so boring.
So I can unlock everything. And it was boring. And you know how we were talking about games that you watch other people play? You were so bored you did not watch me play. You went and did things while I grinded out like the 50 levels.
It was really bad. It was so bad.
Oh, man. Before we move on, Kelly or Marie? Who's your girl?
Kelly.
Stay fresh. All right, go on.
Oh my gosh, you're so funny. Or was it Marie? I don't know. I don't even know the new girls' names.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Yeah, there we go.
Shoot, just go on. Just go on. I'll edit that out.
Right. All right. Since you talked me up so much.
I didn't take one of your games, did I? Did you have
Splatoon? No, you didn't take one of my games.
Okay, you came prepared. All right, you came prepared. All right.
I'm bringing it. So this was my favorite game of all time to play with you. Honestly, I would argue this is the best platform video game next to Crash that I've ever played. Especially as an adult. Obviously, you just bought that one game you're trying to make me play with you with like that lizard 2D
ukulele.
Yeah, it's just as an adult, like it's just not where my head goes to. Like I just can't get into it. But this game, do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, because it's on my list. Rayman Origins, Rayman Legends.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead. Take it. I'll cut in, but go on.
Whoa, Black Betty. No.
Yeah.
The music. Oh my gosh. It was so nice because I thought it was like a good combination for both of us. You like to move like very fast through levels. I kind of like to take my time and explore and pick up things.
You like to collect. You're a collector. You're a 100%er.
Yeah, but it was a good balance of fast paced with the ability to collect, especially those music levels. You move through the level flawlessly to the beauty of the music, and everything that is there to collect, you're collecting in that rhythmic fashion that you're moving through.
That was Rayman Legends. They had so many good songs. And like you were saying, Black Betty was like, I think the first one. And it like set the tone for the whole game. Because like you said, every time you jumped on an enemy, it'd be part of that beat. And every time you like slid down something, it would be like the guitar solo or something. You know, the entire thing was mapped out perfect. And I think they had like 5 to 10 of those type of levels. I think they had Eye of the Tiger. There was a couple more I don't remember. But yeah, those were by far the highlight of the game for me.
Absolutely. And that's what we played the demo of in the store. And I was like, I have to have this game. It just really set the pace. And what's really nice too is, you know, if you did get ahead of me and I died, you know, I go into a little bubble right next to you and you can get me. There's no like, oh, I have to wait. You have to, you know, get another life for me, yada, yada. It was just very easy. Brought me right to you. I can restart. And also the visuals alone, like, it was just a beautiful game. It was very like bright with many layers, you know, the shadows in the background of like monsters moving around while you're moving through the forest up front. Beautiful.
Right. I probably shouldn't have let you go on first because you literally took everything I was going to say. So I'm just going to repeat it. Yeah, so anyways, when you got killed, it would put you in a bubble, and it didn't stop my progress. Yeah, but anyways, I think that's like almost my favorite thing about the game in terms of co-op. Like, one of us dying did not stop the other person at all. You were not dependent on the other person. It's like, hey, we both live, we're both having a good time. Hey, I got hit. Cool. When there's a safe spot, you'll pop me out of the bubble. We'll continue this level. There was no penalty for one of us not being as good as the other in the level. I'm not going to say who was worse, but you can figure it out here. And like you said, the visuals are so beautiful. It's it's almost like a painting, like the background is all 2D and it looks gorgeous, and the characters were okay. There's really no story to talk about, but you unlock the princesses. They gave you a lot of different characters to pick. Raymond's a pretty cool character. The music in general is pretty fun. And, I said you like collecting. I think there was a lot of stuff to unlock in that game too, like different levels and things once you collected enough of those like fireflies.
And there were some puzzle levels where you did have to look around, but
and there was like those challenges that you would go in the room and you'd have to try to figure it out. Yeah, no, I love both those games. While we're recording this, Ubisoft just did like a little press conference a couple days ago. And I was really hoping for a third one because it's so much fun. It was
one of their best. That's devastating.
Yeah, I will definitely be buying the next one.
I mean, honestly, though, one of the better parts of it, too, is that there isn't a heavy story kind of weighing it down. It's a game you can just sit down, pick up, get into it right away, and put it down. No strings attached. Which these days, obviously, I feel like a lot of the games are very heavy, theatrical, endeavors that I don't always want to pick up because I just don't feel like, seeing what happens to Ellie.
No, I love Rayman. Like you said, you can just jump in a level, play it. You can replay the levels. I think we did that a couple times. The music levels. It was just a really fun game. All right, well, I'm gonna steal one of yours then. All right. Yeah, I am right now. Okay. I will say, Rayman Origins might have been one of my favorites to play with you, but I am going to talk about my absolute favorite one to play with you. And that would be Diablo.
How
3.
could you?
I know. I stole one of yours. You had backups, right? I told you to put like 4 to 5 backups. No?
Well, I got some backups that were terrible to play with you.
That's funny because I didn't tell you to do that, and I actually have 5 games that were terrible. So we'll do that that at the end of the level. But
nice to know there's so many we hate playing together.
Oh, I'm ready to talk about those. Trust me. But Diablo 3. So, if anyone hasn't played Diablo, it's a looter type of game. Over the top, third-person action RPG, where you're going through these levels and you're just killing hordes and hordes and hordes of enemies, and they're dropping all this loot, and you get to kind of make your own custom character, and they have different kind of styles. I think you were the sorceress. I don't remember. You were something. The necromancer or something. But it was just so much fun killing all these guys with you because it was a little bit like Rayman where, we both kind of just did our own thing and we had fun doing it. And, we played it nonstop. We beat the entire game. And getting, seeing our characters level up and get better skills. At the end of it, I was the paladin actually because I had those like flying hammers that kept going around me. We were just spamming our attacks. Where like there's 1,000 hammers going around me and you're shooting off, freeze rays and electricity and we're just running through these levels and, the game's fun. We killed the Butcher, we killed Diablo, Mephisto, all those guys and had a really good time with it. One of my absolute favorites.
Mine too. Honestly, a lot of people argue that this game really isn't up to all the hype because it's essentially just kill, drop loot, kill, drop loot, kill, drop loot. But honestly, killing something that was so hard was so satisfying. And then the loot, like when you got those rare items that were glowing yellow.
Oh, yeah, legendary.
It just, oh my gosh, it just made you feel good about it. And I really did like the different classes of characters because you could really kind of run through again and it would be a different game and how you approach it and play through. And, you did the paladin, like you said, and you were really close up, even though you had the hammers just going around you. But like I like to stay back. So it was nice to have those options. I think that's what made us really, be able to handle this together, is because we could each do our own play style together.
Yeah, and you said it's kill loot, and that's exactly what it is, but they do it to such like a like perfection, The enemies, they don't take a lot to kill, but there's so many of them, so it feels so satisfying when you're just taking out like 20 to 30 enemies at a time. And then as you're killing them, they're dropping heaps of gold, weapons, armor, rings, ruins, and you're just seeing all this stuff drop. And after you like clear the battlefield, you're going up there, and that's your prize, So you're like, oh, okay, taking a little bit of gold. Oh, a new helmet I can put on. That was a ton of fun. And like, it's one of those games that we don't do a lot. I'm pretty sure we beat that game multiple times. Like, we beat it on normal, and then we went on to a harder mode where it dropped like even better loot, and we played through it because it was just a fun game.
No, it was awesome. And to get all that gear and to be able to switch it out so easily, like, especially myself, how I consider a comfortable gamer, I was able to like easily understand what, arcane energy was and the different parts and what they meant and how they could work together. So that's definitely one of my all-time favorites to play.
Oh, yeah. All right, moving on. I stole one of yours. Can you steal one back and take the lead?
Honestly, I don't know. I was trying to think of, I don't know what it's called.
Are there more Mother Bay games coming up?
There is a Mother Bay game coming up.
I know.
I was trying to think of that one game. It's not Battle Block Theater. What is that? Battle Block Theater. It's the guy. He looks like a little yarn guy. He's brown, like a gingerbread man.
Little Big Planet?
Oh, yeah. Okay. I was just trying to think
Close. Close. Yeah, that was, go on, please.
Okay. I'm not going to read that right now. Oh, I was trying. Okay. So another one of my absolute favorite games with Bay, a.k.a. your mom, is Don't Starve Together. It's a survival video game made by Clay Entertainment. Not really sure on that one, but it's kind of hard to describe. So there is a scientist named Wilson, and basically he kind of gets in the fight with a demon, gets transported to another world, has to survive. You got to keep him healthy, fed, mentally stable, and then basically avoid like a supernatural and kind of surreal Tim Burton-esque world where everything's trying to kill you. The story
those graphics are amazing. The art style,
they're
like
very
you said,
Tim Burton.
It's Tim Burton, exactly. And they got kind of like it's mostly like brown and like looks like pencil, like the characters, but it's really well done.
And like really the only stark colors are just like this like blood red that really like pops throughout the series.
It sticks out when that shows up. Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. And it seems like it's very story heavy, but you can kind of take it and play it any way you want. You're kind of dropped into this world and you're given no instructions. So in the beginning, we died a million times just trying to figure out how to eat, how to not go crazy. And that Tim Burton style really adds to that spook factor when the sun is going down and the animals are running and hiding. And then all of a sudden you hear the rockabye music and out come these black arms trying to pull you into the darkness. Yeah. Top game. Awesome game.
Yeah.
It's so deep. You can go as deep as you want to. You can be as superficial as let me build a base to let me explore caverns and find a secret portal that launches me to a secondary world. You can like farm pigs. You can go into, we call them tentacle fields, where these like tentacles come from the ground and beat you silly. To spider nests. The spiders have killed us so many times, but to battle like one of the mother spiders and win, so satisfying. And honestly, there's just so many different characters with different abilities and ways to use them in the world. At one point, your mom all of a sudden turned into a woodchuck and started eating all the trees and she couldn't stop. Like, it was just out of left field. We played this game for a good year, like almost every day.
How many hours do you think you have in that?
Oh my gosh, a lot.
Hundreds,
like 400.
Hundreds. Yes.
Yeah, because when we got into it, you were working afternoons, so really like 8 hours we would put in at a time. Sometimes more, I can't lie. But I highly recommend it. This has a single player, just obviously don't starve. They have a lot of expansions. And then me and you were checking out kind of their newest edition where it's kind of like a community and there's kind of like a bartering system in place with the pigs. And, till this day, me and your mom still quote those pigs like,
Really?
yeah, like, where's sun?
Oh, boy.
Like, it's dark. Because the pigs like the sun. They don't like the dark.
Okay.
But like I said, the story can really, if you really take the time to kind of research the game and get into the story, it almost provides you with clues to take it to that deeper level. Like I said, otherwise you can just play it very superficially where you're literally just surviving and just kind of making your way. So that's something that we kind of delved into, and I won't spoil any of that stuff because it's a long journey, but definitely one of my top games of all time.
Yeah, that game is nuts. I mean, like I had bought like regular Don't Starve like way before you were interested in it, and it's like a crafting survival game. And like you said, they don't tell you anything. They don't give you hints. It's like, you've got 15 minutes before it gets dark, and if you don't have a fire built or a torch, you're dead and you lost that progress. So, you obviously got to go find wood, you got to chop it up, you got to combine it with ferns or whatever to make a campfire. And it's just one of those games where if you put the time in there, you get like rewarded. You feel good about playing it, which is cool. And I never put that time in. I'm a little bit of a lazy gamer. I got to have a little bit of it shown to me. But no, real cool game, real fun. It was getting so bad. I remember this. It was getting so bad because we had it on PlayStation that I had to make you buy it on the computer so I could have my PlayStation back because you guys just would not stop playing ever.
But honestly, that's the best thing you could have done on PlayStation. You really do start out with no supplies and permanent death. So when you die, you literally lose everything. No matter how big or great or long you could have been a part of that game for years, and you die and it's wiped away. Transitioning me to the computer was an awesome change in the dynamic of the game because it gives you full customization. You can start with a world just littered with pigs and raccoons. And you can give yourself some supplies to start. You can turn off the permanent death and give yourself spawn points. You can turn off some of the monsters. Like, I think there was like a giant mosquito we couldn't kill in the lava pits. Just got rid of them with a click of a button. Well, so the computer
you gotta do what you gotta do.
Gotta do it. I couldn't kill him, but I will say the computer experience was a lot different than the PlayStation one. And I would highly recommend the computer versus PlayStation.
And I would probably say this about the computer. I don't think I've ever played it on the computer, but I think it controls a lot easier on the computer, right?
It does. And like I said, the customization
on the console,
alone.
you gotta like scroll through all your like inventory and the boxes and stuff. Computer, you just move your mouse over to it and you can click it. So it was fun on PlayStation for you, but I would say you definitely recommend it on PC.
Yeah, even seeing, like, my biggest thing is, like, I'm not blind, clearly, but a lot of times with games, I have trouble seeing, and in a game like this where there's not, like, a lot of stark contrasts and stuff, I found on the console it was harder to see your inventory because it's very small little squares in the bottom, and it's not like other games where you open up, like, a backpack and it enlarges. It's a constant box on the bottom that is just very small. But on the computer, when you hover over items, they actually get larger, and plus you're on the computer, so you can see it relatively more easy.
Gotcha. If you just give me 1 second, I'm actually going to get my mom and let her finish this podcast with you because obviously that's who you're meant to do it with. But
I can't help. You weren't interested in the best games.
I'm so sorry.
You should be. I forgive you.
All right, I'm going to move on and pick another game that I think we both really enjoy. And this isn't like Mario Party, but I would say it's in that same sort of like style, possibly. The Jackbox party games.
Okay.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, those
So
are
there's
good.
like 6 Jackbox Party games right now, and we have them all on the Switch. I think 4 of them on the Switch, and they're just when you buy this game, it comes with like usually 5 different games in there, and they could be trivia games, they could be word games, they could be deduction games, hidden deduction type games. But each of them are really, really funny. You play it on your phone, so you don't need a controller to play it. You just log on to their website, and you can play it with your bae. You can play it with your brother, your cousins, your mother, anybody, and it's easy because you play it on your phone. It's just hilarious. It's like when everyone's around and you want a really fun game where you can just laugh, that's the one you put on because they have all these different quality of games. And man, it's really good value. I think they're usually around $30, but they go on sale a lot. So you get these like party games that you can play. Now, me and you can never play them by ourselves, but when we have other people, I think they're great.
No, I totally agree. That goes back to kind of like Mario Party in a sense. It's a really easy game for anybody to come into, and the amount of players it supports really, brings a crowd together.
This level of thoughts and players is brought to you by us. If you've been enjoying the podcast so far, please show your support and let us know by subscribing to the podcast, following us on the socials, and contributing to community surveys and questions around our community segments. Doing so will help the podcast grow, keep our content engaging, and most importantly, make sure your voice is heard. Thanks for tuning in, and now back to the show.
Do you have a favorite game on those?
I'm kind of going between a couple, but I just have to say the raps. Like the raps in general, there's 2 different ones. There's like a very generic one where you kind of you look like a dummy and you read it aloud, and then there's another one where you're a robot. I think that one's a little bit better.
Yeah. I think
and they're so
is like my
bizarre.
favorite.
They're just like the most bizarre rap.
Well, they even read it in their like robotic voice, and they kind of give you prompts like, write a verb, write an adverb, write a noun. So you fill them in, and then you like do the punchline of the rap, and you'll have this robot rapping in a robotic voice these rhymes, and it sounds terrible. But at the same time, if you can make a good rhyme, it actually sounds okay. And it's a rap battle. So like me and you might be paired up where I'm reading my rap and you're reading your rap, and then like the rest of the people vote on who's the best. I really like that one. I like Trivia Murder Party. That one's always fun.
I know you do.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite. It's just a trivia game, but it's trivia that like no one really knows. It's mostly just guessing, and then if you get it wrong, you can die in the game. But if you die, you don't lose. It just makes it harder to win, and it's a fun game. Like I said, there's 6 of them. Each of them seem like they all have like unique mini games. There's a couple like Fibbage, I think, is in a couple, but no, they're all real fun, great for parties, great to play with your significant other. You don't necessarily have to be you don't have to be a gamer to play. You can play it if you just like having fun, right?
Oh my gosh. I was just thinking that one game, I think is it Espionage? We just bought a board game just like it. Is that the one where it's the percent? It literally gives you a question and you got to guess.
Oh, yeah, it's something like that. I don't think it's Espionage, but something like that. Yeah. Yeah, they take a lot of like board game type games, which, I've talked about it on the podcast. I'm a big board gamer. I got everyone around me to be kind of into board games. So it's like board games for your TV.
It's a good way to sell it.
I'm doing all these back of the box quotes. All right. So Jackbox, hit me up. Let me know which ones you want.
Oh my God. I just think it goes to show like if it's a board game and it's a video game that, it has that cross reference. I don't know what I'm saying.
Yeah. It's a lot of it's a lot of people's like, just a lot of different people, that might not be interested in video games, but they like to play a little bit of board games. And like I said, most of them are just word games. And I think everyone can like, relate to playing word games, but
yeah, it's easy.
One of my favorites. So to play as a group, I think that was number 4 for me. I'm kind of losing track here. Yeah.
But you stole 3. One of mine. So.
And and you stole one of mine. So
that's okay. I'm going to make up for it.
Is this your 5th? This is your 5th one, right?
Yeah. And I'm about to blow you out of the water.
Let's hear it.
All right. Well, this game I am the best at. I am number 700. Out of all the people who have played it, I beat you, your brother, anybody who picks up the controller. I beat.
Smash Bros. Ultimate.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh boy.
Come on, like really? Pinball.
Pinball. Oh man, that's such a good pick. Oh man, that's a great pick.
I got it together. Pinball FX.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, who would have thought pinball on a console would be fun at all? But it is awesome. So Pinball FX is by Zen Studios, and then Microsoft published it. Oh my gosh, played hours and hours and hours on end before I go to work, before I go to bed. So easy to just pick it up, knock it out, put it down. Y'all out of the water, so it's always going to be one of my top games.
Yeah, I will concede that to you. For a long while, it was kind of the same thing as Splatoon. Me and you went back and forth taking turns on this game and just playing it nonstop. Pinball FX, you can download it for free and they give you a free table. What's the table called? I know you know. I can't.
The Sorcerer's Lair.
The Sorcerer's Lair. That's right. They give you that table for free. And man, it's so much fun. It was so much fun. It prompted us to buy like 15 other tables on there.
Which we didn't like.
Right. The Sorcerer's Lair is the absolute best. But when we first started playing, like you said, we got my brother involved. We got my uncle. We got, I think your dad tried playing it a little bit. But we tried to get as many people involved because it was just it was fun chasing those high scores. And I don't know. I never really played pinball in the arcades, a little bit. But like it was kind of fun discovering like the secrets of that table. And you wouldn't think pinball was like that. You think, okay, Diablo 3, what secrets can I find? But pinball actually does, you go up a ramp. How do I activate this thing to happen? And once we actually figured out how to get those high scores, it was just like, that's all we wanted. We wanted to activate the 10 stones, activate Whisper, and get to that super like bonus game where you like your points like quadruple or times 10. And it was so much fun.
I know it was awesome to play against each other, trying to get that high score, losing your last ball. And like you said, like unlocking the secrets, you get that weird mini game that we've never gotten before. And all of a sudden, all of our eyes are glued to the TV.
Yeah.
It was an awesome game. And yes, it's kind of lost its steam now. But, just a couple weeks ago, I found myself going back to it. I think it's one of those games that are so good that you can just continually go back, pick it up, put it down, no problem. Unlike some of the other ones that now that I'm done. Right.
And like, I'll say this, like when we first started going for the high scores, it was so funny playing it because I kind of remember like those first couple days, it was like, I got 500,000. That can't be beat. I got 1 million for the first time. Oh, I got 5. I got 10 million. And we just kept like, and my brother Cody, he was like, oh, I got the high score with 60 million. Oh, I passed it. I got 80 million. And by the end of it, do you want to tell them your high score? Estimated. I don't know if you know what, you might know this. You're kind of like that. You might know the exact number. And if you do, you're going to make me sick. Go on.
It's an estimate. Okay. I don't know the exact number.
Thank you.
Thanks. But it's about 600 million.
600 million, which for that table, like you said, was 700th in the world.
Yeah, which I'm proud of.
Yeah, you should be. It was amazing. And like when we were going for those high scores, 600 million, that knocked me and Cody out of the water. Like I don't think I had ever even come close. I might have got like 100 million, 200 million at my peak. But like your 600 million score was like literally playing it for what, an hour and a half?
No, it really was. I went through basically, kind of how you described earlier with all the mini games and the secrets. I had unlocked the whole table one time and then was able to keep enough pinballs to do the whole table over again.
Yeah, so like in that game, there's like, depending on where you hit the ball at, you play a little mini game. It's also pinball, but it's like, you got to get it through here, you got to get through there, you got to knock these things down, but you got to go through 10 of them. And once you get through that 10th one, it gives you a huge bonus multiplier game. And just getting through those 10 takes like 45 minutes. It takes a long time, and you only have 3 balls in pinball, so it's extremely difficult. And like you said, you went through it once and twice. Like I'll never touch the score. I played it from time to time, and it's fun. It's still fun to play for sure. But you have the record. I concede it to you. I'll leave it at that. No last words, huh?
I was trying to think of some, but I was like,
Yeah,
I think
you're the queen. You're the best. Blah blah blah. Okay.
Oh my god!
All right.
No, it was nice because it encouraged us to kind of go out and actually play some real pinball, which wasn't as fun as console pinball.
It was not. Real life is an utter disappointment compared to video games. I think that's just the key takeaway I have. So
I don't know. There's not a little Boston Terrier in video games that we love.
That's true. So. That's true. All right. So here's the deal. You actually did take one of mine. You took Rayman Origins and Legends. So I had a couple backups. Which one do you want to talk about? I have 3. I have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the old school one for Sega, which would be my mom. Or we can talk about Animal Crossing, which just came out this year, which we had taken turns on that I really loved. Or we can talk a little bit about Rogue Legacy. It is our last game we're talking about here. So
I don't know. Rogue Legacy was awesome for both of us. Animal Crossing, I think if I discuss it with you, the audience here will be very let down by my side of that.
Oh boy.
And then obviously Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is one of your all-time favorites. So you can go ahead and choose.
Rogue Legacy it is. All right. So Rogue Legacy is an indie game, and it is my favorite indie game of all time. I absolutely love this game. I loved it so much that I bought it digitally. I went and purchased it, the collector's edition at GameStop with the little steel bookcase and the soundtrack, which the soundtrack is, what do kids say these days? It's fire. It's lit. Something like that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I can vouch. We do listen to this in your car.
It's dab. So. I don't know. But it's really, really good.
It's Gucci. No.
It's Gucci. God. Yeah. So anyways, the game is a roguelike game. So if no one's ever played a roguelike game, you go through this, I believe it's like a castle with like different rooms. And when you die, you actually start all the way over. None of your progress is saved. You have to kind of go through the castle in its entirety in one run, which the game is very difficult. The game is extremely difficult. But with most rogue games, they kind of give you a little bit of something. Like as you're going through this castle, you're collecting money, and you can use that money to build up equipment, build up power-ups, build up stuff like that. The only issue is when you go back into that castle, you lose all your gold. So whatever money you collect, you got to make sure you spend it before you go back into the castle because you're not going to have it. So it has a really good formula of getting a little bit further in the castle, And me and you took turns playing this. It's a 2D platformer, but man, it's just so much fun. The graphics are real nice. They're real cartoony and kind of bubbly. The aesthetic, the castle's real cool. It's got I think 4 or 5 distinct zones. With a forest zone, an evil underlayer zone. And probably the coolest part in the game, and the thing that kind of enticed me to want to play it to begin with, is every time you die, the little thing was one of your ancestors takes over your quest. So you start off as Sir Charles, and then he dies, and then you're a female named Sir Charles II, which is, kind of humorous. And another cool thing about it is every one of these people had a bonus and a negative, or they had 2 negatives or 2 bonuses. One of them would be this person's colorblind. So the entire game would then be black and white. This person has vertigo. So the entire level is flipped upside down. Now, why would that help you? It doesn't help you. It makes the game way harder. You never want to have a guy that has vertigo. But maybe this guy is also a ninja, and the ninja can get critical attacks way more likely than the paladin. So it's upside down, but I get critical hits. And it was cool every time you died to see which pairing of abilities with your class you would get. And sometimes it just felt like the magic would happen, where you got a class that you loved and you got 2 positive abilities where spikes don't hurt you and you can see through walls or something like that. Or you're a little person where you can fit through the secret pathways. And to me, that's what made the game great. The boss battles were amazing. I know I'm not
Mhm.
talking about co-op here at all because it doesn't have co-op. It's a single-player game, but me and you would pass the controller. I think I just wanted an excuse to talk about this game because I love it so much. Number 2 was announced. I'm very, very excited for it. But yeah, Rogue Legacy, man, one of my favorite games of all time. One of the best indie I've ever played. One of the best games I ever played. And it was a fun co-op game. Me and you did take turns. You know, we would watch each other play and we would root each other on trying to go through this castle. And we would, you know, go through this little path and do this and do that. And I just had a blast playing with you, you know, and it was the same kind of like little competitiveness. We're like, okay, we're at a boss. Can we, you know, who can get a little bit further in this game? And it's one of those games where it's my most completed game. I ended up beating the game 6 times. I'm pretty sure you were there along the entire way, right? We always played together. You always watched me.
I'm always around somewhere.
You're always around.
But that's the thing. It was so much fun to watch, and I loved picking characters that had like the weirdest, most bizarre, most unhelpful flaws just because I wanted to see it in action.
No, it was great. Yeah, I'm actually trying to look it up right now to see some of the traits because these things were hilarious. Why don't you talk a little bit, Linz?
Well, let me touch base on a game I absolutely hated. And I didn't hate playing it with you. It is a co-op game. Probably know where I'm going with this. But just the game itself to me was so utterly bad. And that was Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, so like I said, I have 5 games that you don't want to play with Bay. And not all of them are bad, but this was on my list as well because the game was bad.
It was bad. The characters were ugly.
Take it away.
Characters were ugly. Their skill set was poor. The story was lackluster. It was very boring. You got spammed with enemies, and there was no satisfaction in killing them. Your progress was very slow, if any progress was made at all, because you end up switching between characters as you advance through the story and meet more superheroes and things like that.
And they weren't even the same level. They were underleveled.
No, they'd be underleveled, and then you would play the new character. So now your old character's stuck on level 10, and this guy's only, on level 7. Someone else is on level 20, and then you're trying to fight bosses who are level 30.
I mean, it had a lot of potential. It had a really cool cast of characters, pretty much all the Marvel staples. It's where I got to know Kamala Khan. She's awesome. Miss Marvel, I got to play as my boy Spider-Man. So there was a little bit to like about it. But like you said, it was just a button masher. It was like Diablo, but not fun. There wasn't any loot, and it was taking care of like spammy enemies, but just, I don't know, none of that pizzazz or style. It was really disappointing. Like you said, the character designs were kind of ugly. Environments were kind of like bare bones. You'd walk down the same hallways all the time. It was just not one of my favorite games for sure. All right, so another game. How many do you have? Games that you don't like?
I have one more after this.
Okay, then I'll go a couple. All right, so these are 2 games that you don't actually play co-op, but it's hard to play with. It's hard to play with you in front of me. And they both have a different reason. The first one is Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice. Or it could be Bloodborne, or it could be Dark Souls. These games are all extremely difficult games that are meant to frustrate you every step of the way. You're not supposed to be having a great time playing these games. And you're a pretty positive person while I'm playing games, You'll get it, baby. Oh, you can do this. Oh, did you beat them yet?
You're ruining my reputation.
I am ruining your reputation. But when you do that while I'm playing these games, it is the most frustrating thing in the entire world that makes me want to pull out my hair and throw the controller because, no, I'm not doing good. No, I'm not going to beat him. So please just stop asking. It's going to take me another 10 hours on this one fight to get there. But, yeah, that's something I can't play in front of anyone just because,
That sucks because I really liked watching you play Bloodborne. I thought that was like a very pretty game.
Yeah,
how dark and dreary it was,
and
it had a good story. Sekiro, zero interest.
Okay,
let me leave you.
And then this other one, which I think you actually maybe even liked watching me play, but It's so cringy. It's so cringy. It's like the cringiest game, but you know me. I love the cringe, I'm talking Bayonetta. Bayonetta 2. I don't think you ever watched me
God.
play a Bayonetta 1,
Yeah, I
but
did. It was hard for me.
Bayonetta 2 is so cringy. The story is like amped up to 11. Like everything is so over the top, and it's like so anime and Japan inspired that it's just like crazy things happen. And you had that guy that looked like Yu-Gi-Oh pop out and just say the craziest thing. And you had this guy come down with a grapple gun, and you have Bayonetta herself, which I love. Bayonetta is awesome, but the way she fights is her entire body is covered by her own hair. And when she throws a punch, a lot of that hair will come off her body and form a giant hand. So while you're fighting, she becomes 99% naked. Which is like when you're playing in front of, your wife, it's just like,
yeah, it's kind of cringy when each has its own animation.
Yeah, they jiggle, and it's just like, but that is awesome. She's got that British accent. She's a powerful woman figure. She's probably a feminist. It's all good traits, but it's just really like super cringy to play in front of like anybody.
Yeah, I'm embarrassed talking about it here. So,
but it's like one of the best games ever made. I've said that about like 4 games right now, but Bayonetta is like the best action game in my opinion. The gameplay is fluid. Just don't play it in front of your significant other.
Or anybody.
Or anybody. Play it in the basement by yourself.
Wow, that sounds even worse though.
You can take that how you want. So I've got 2 games left, and I know you are going to pick one of these 2 with your final one. So hit me with it.
No, I'm not.
You are. Games that you should not play. Go on.
Oh, make me nervous. Mario.
You're specifically talking about Super Mario 3D World.
Yeah. Is that on there?
For the Wii. That is on there 100%.
Woo! Okay.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Go on.
That was horrible. I love you so much. Worst experience of my life. I also wanted to leave you. You go way too fast. You skip everything. The whole point of a Mario game is it's a platformer. You go through the level. You crush the enemies. You get the coins. You didn't want to do any of that. And you left me behind. And then I would die. Not fun.
No, it was not fun because one of us was skilled to a certain amount and the other person was not skilled quite as highly.
Oh, so I'm sorry to do a shell jump. And
when that person's holding you back, it was the total opposite of Rayman, where like if your partner dies, it's devastating. And towards the end of that game where they have those platforms that like disappear and it's like 2 tiles wide where both you have to fit into it. I remember, oh man, we were so frustrated playing this game together. We didn't even like each other at that point. Like it was just frustration. Like
honestly, I don't think we finished the game.
We did finish the game.
We were in like the last world.
No, we finished it. I remember I spent some levels just picking you up and playing it like that because you can carry your opponents.
Why you gotta call me out like that?
I literally carried you through that game. Like that's not just a meta. That's not just the metaphor. I carried you through that game towards the end. And it
wasn't fun with you. Like I wanted to hang out as the cat and like jump around and stuff, and you were like, no fun with the cat. Just run.
No, Linz, I want to beat this game. Sorry. Yeah. So man, I think it's like a good game. But we played it all in co-op, so I'm not really sure it's a good game. But I think it's a good game. I would like to play it by myself, Mario, away from you.
Probably fair, but like I said when I was talking about Rayman, platformers as an adult really just don't do it for me. So like Mario as a whole, even the Mario you're playing now, just not interested whatsoever.
Oh well, I'm so sorry, Miss Pretentious.
You should be. I have a very astute palate for gaming.
Yes, of course. My bad. All right. So I've got one more game that you cannot play with Bay. And this is actually really cool because this is like the first game we've ever played. So,
I'm nervous.
I know as my wife, we've played a lot of games throughout the years. And like I said, this is not the very first game we played, but this is the first game we tried to play together. And it failed spectacularly. I might have thought about leaving you after that, but Beautiful Katamari for the Xbox 360. Do you remember that?
Gosh.
Do you remember that day?
Yeah, I do.
I'm going to keep this short and simple. We didn't play it very long. We played it 15, 20 minutes. All I was doing was trying to explain how to play the game. All you do is you take the thumbsticks and you move them up and down to keep your ball rolling. And for whatever reason, you could not grasp that concept. I don't want to call you out right now, but I have to call you out. You could not grasp the concept of moving the thumbsticks, the joysticks up and down. And it was like, oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Go on. Do you have anything to say about this game?
Okay, it wasn't that I couldn't grasp it. It was that I didn't want to. I was trying to play dumb to get out of it because who likes that game? Let's be real. You're the only person that I've ever even heard of. I didn't even know what this game
Wait. You try to
is.
play dumb to get out of things? Have you done this before?
No. My first and last offense.
Oh, thank God. Okay, thank you. I was worried.
It's a terrible game. Nobody wants to play that. It's not fun at all to roll around and collect objects and get bigger. Wow. Amazing. Keep going.
I'm hurt. I'm hurt right now. But
yeah,
I think
because
it's
I saw
a
you
great game.
scoping it out again on the store the other day.
I know. I was tempted to buy it, but
No.
just that memory is stuck in my brain so far in.
Oh, well, you know what stuck in my brain when we first started playing video games together and I had you play Crash Bash, arguably one of the best crashes to be released. And I was trying to teach you how to do kind of it's almost like a wrestling ring and it has a cart on each side of the ring. And then kind of like Hungry Hippos, you're trying to get as many balls as you can and they drop in the middle. And you couldn't do it, babe. You just couldn't do it. Such a hard concept to grasp.
And that was the first game we ever played together, correct?
Yeah, it was.
The very first one. Wow. You always remember your first one.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
Yeah, we should drop that.
Well,
Crash, look at Crash. Always rising to the top, man.
Crash is always around. He's always there. He's a fixture in our lives. So
yeah, every memory.
I respect that crazy bandicoot. So, yeah, that was 10, 12, 15, 18 games co-op that you can enjoy, you could not enjoy. This was a lot of fun. Thanks, Linz.
It was all right. It's nice to know all the games you hate playing with me.
Yeah, I actually just want to thank, first of all, Thoughts and Players podcast, because this is the longest conversation we've had in, I would say, 2 years.
I think more than that. We've been together, 9? So
Yeah.
maybe probably 8 years.
Okay, so you just took my joke and added a few years onto it. That's what you're coming with? That's what you're ending with?
Listen, all I know is you're in the game room. I'm in the bedroom. I'm going to lock the door.
Don't do it. All right. So we're going to try to wrap this up so I can actually go to bed tonight. Linz, do you have any final thoughts? It could be anything in the world.
I'm going to stick to topic and just say co-op games are so awesome with other people, especially whoever Bay is to you. They can really bring you together, bring out the worst in you. And I think sometimes that's the most fun of it is when you're at each other's throats.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, they don't always have to be co-ops, like The Wolf Among Us, that's still with us. That's one of our favorite games to quote till this day. And that's not co-op at all. The games with the stories where you can kind of watch it like a movie together. Those are some of my favorite experiences.
That was really nice. We don't get that from you every day. That's really nice.
It's the hormones.
All right, my final thoughts is I also really enjoy co-op games. I've been playing them forever. I was just about to talk about the Turtles, which I played with my mom. I've obviously played hundreds of games with my brother. He's my best friend. Now you're my best friend, which I love playing games with you. And I can't wait to keep playing them. For anyone listening and knows me and Lindsey went to the store a little while ago. And in a few months, we're going to have a little baby. And I am so excited to have another little co-op partner to play with. I don't want you to get emotional.
Oh my gosh.
I know. Don't do that. Don't do that. But I'm so excited just to play the games with him. And hopefully, he's better at Mario than you. And that is all. That was Gaming with Bay, the bonus level of the Thoughts and Players podcast. If you liked what you heard, please subscribe to the podcast on your preferred podcast service. You can like the podcast on Facebook at facebook.com/Thoughts and Players, as well on Instagram at thoughts.players. We are on Stitcher. We are on all these different podcast sites. Please give us a like, give us a subscribe, comment, and tell us how we're doing. Linz, thank you for doing this last minute. I appreciate it. And I won't say I love you because that'd be unprofessional, but I am going to say goodbye now so I can say that in the next room. Okay?
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Thank you.